What's up, birds and swords? I'm Alyssa, and we're here with Micah. Micah, how are you?
What up? Good.
Last week we talked about video game heroes, what makes a good hero, popular heroes, and our personal favorites. So this week we're going to dive into villains.
I think I might like villains better.
Yeah, I think this will be a fun one. So I guess we could jump right into it with what makes a good villain.
Nope. I've got a bird thing first.
Oh, bird.
Beep, bird thing.
Boop-a-doop,
So,
alert.
There's a new Geico commercial. I don't know if you've heard it. I've only heard it on the radio. It might be on TV too. It talks about ducks, and it brings a point to ducks that I hadn't thought about before, that ducks are all-terrain vehicles because they can walk on the earth.
Yeah.
They can swim in the water, and they can fly.
They're perfect. God's creation.
Can you imagine being any kind of being that can do all three of them?
Isn't that why those like army vehicles are called ducks? Because they can almost do all that?
Maybe. Are they called ducks?
Yeah, you can ride them in the Wisconsin Dells. They're called ducks.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like
I was
touristy.
super misled as a child when my dad was like, "Do you want to ride a duck?" Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah, because you're like it's like a bus and then it just drives into the water.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, we're a boat now," but
it definitely doesn't
quack.
fly.
Yeah,
but that's crazy to me. Can you imagine being a living being that could?
Chickens can kind of do that. They're
and
I'm
sure there's more birds that can, but I can't think of any other animal.
No, birds are just the coolest.
Man,
like chickens float and they can kind of fly. They're kind of like half-tier ducks, but ducks can do it all. We should really be treating ducks with more respect.
Right? Yeah. Like
geese
props
too,
to
but
ducks.
geese are rude. So
because ducks can like actually go under the water and swim.
Yeah.
There's a lot that can like land on the top
so
and whatever.
Cool.
Or
Did you hear about the Milwaukee Mandarin duck?
Mandarin duck?
Me and Zach went looking for it, and we accidentally found a bald
I thought it was a
eagle nest.
mallard.
No. So there was...
That's different?
Mallards are pretty native to the area.
They got like
the green head.
Yeah.
The males do.
Yeah.
So there was a Mandarin duck spotted in Milwaukee recently, and this isn't totally unheard of because people can domesticate Mandarin ducks, but otherwise...
Can you explain Mandarin duck? Because I don't know
native
what that
to
is.
Asia, they're beautiful ducks. They look like pigeons.
So they're not in North America at all? Or
no,
rarely?
not native, but you can domesticate them, and that's what they think kind of happened, that it escaped. But native, so I saw a lot of them when I was in China. They're just gorgeous, beautiful. Google it, gorgeous ducks. And there's been one spotted in Milwaukee in certain areas. So me and Zach were like, we're going to find this duck. And we went on a journey looking for the duck. And in the process of trying to find it, we actually found a bald eagle's nest with bald eagles. Zach pulled over and he was like, dude, look at this. And sure enough, there was a bald eagle flying away, and then it came back, flew into the nest. We saw the full nest, and then it flew off again. And we were like, this is insane. Oh my God, we just found a bald eagle's nest.
Did you get like super patriotic?
No, but
did you say the...
National anthem?
No, the Pledge of Allegiance.
No. But what's crazy is when we were looking for the Mandarin duck, we found where it usually chills, and there's like a bunch of other bird watchers there waiting for it. So there's like 10 other old people. Like we were the youngest for sure.
They've got the binoculars with
and massive cameras, and we show up and we're like, dude, we just found this bald eagle's nest. And these people they're like, you're new here. Yeah, the bald eagle's nest over on that street. Yeah, we've seen it. Like it was like not news to them. I was like,
wow.
Okay. So I didn't feel super cool after that, but it felt cool when we found the bald eagle's nest.
Are there a lot of bald eagles in Wisconsin?
There's more and more because we're working on it.
You find the most, and we see them in Missouri. We have tons of rivers.
Yeah.
They're always on waterways. That's like what they live off of.
Yeah.
So with the lake
there's
here,
a couple nesting in Milwaukee because there's one that flies around our building because we live on the 22nd floor.
Did you name him?
No. But we had a falcon run into our window. That was cool because he was trying to eat our green birds.
Did you name him?
No.
You just don't name.
We don't name him. I don't want to be
uncommon
attached because then I'm going to bring him inside, and Zach's going to be upset because he's going to be like, why is a falcon in our house? So
I wouldn't put it past you. You pick up the sick pigeons on the street.
I do. The one that was like choking on its own spit. And Zach and I found this pigeon, and it was like puking on itself and dying in the driveway. And I picked it up and I was like, we have to save it. And so we take it into our apartment away from our birds because you just don't know what it has. And we spent 8 hours. It was seizing in my hands, seizing and like when birds seize, it's so disgusting and scary. Like their necks turn and their eyes roll back. It just looks so scary and they're foaming. And I was like holding it and I was like, it's okay, it'll be fine. And
you'll get through this exorcism.
We literally held that pigeon for 8 hours, and we started off in the driveway taking care of it. We spent like 4 hours in the driveway taking care of this pigeon, and this one guy was super not helpful. He just kept saying, break its neck, like just kill it.
Put it out.
Yeah, because he was like, put it out. But I was like, I physically cannot do it, and if you're not gonna do it, I'm not gonna do it. So I can't do it. And this guy thought he was being helpful, but for like 2 hours he was like, just break its neck. And I was like, do you want to go home? Do you have like a family?
Do you want to break it?
Right. Like, can you leave? And then eventually he left and we took it upstairs and took care of it and nursed it back to health. We named him Loaf because he's like a little loaf of bread. And we named him, but he never came back.
He's flying around Milwaukee
he's
somewhere,
probably
hopefully.
fine now. Yeah. But I think he just ate something that wasn't good for him or something. Or I looked it up. If they run into windows, it can do that to them where it like these like seize up.
Concuss.
Yeah. So...
It's got to be a tough life being a pigeon. You're just a scavenger.
And people hate pigeons for no reason. We brought them here. We brought pigeons to cities, and then we said, fuck you. And then we started kicking them and treat them like rats. They're cool birds.
If you can't carry this note to Virginia,
get fucked.
Then get fucked. Jeez. All right, so what's, if there was a villain that was a bird species, what would it be?
There's a pretty good bird. Wait, what? A villain? What? Like a bird species villain?
Who's the bad guy bird?
It's almost always portrayed as some sort of like falcon. I feel like,
or crow,
like in Stuart Little, that was a falcon, right?
Mm.
Do you ever see the bumper sticker? This is so off topic. It's like Christian moms against Stuart Little.
What? Why?
I don't know. I never looked into it.
It's just a little mouse.
I never looked into it, but it's
satanic
awesome.
Mouse, maybe? Or did we miss the...
It's not God's plan to adopt mice.
Shit.
But anyway, that was so off topic, but it always makes me laugh. I feel like falcons, because they just look mean. Falcons look mean.
Yeah, or crows, or ravens, maybe. Yeah,
because they're like the harbingers of death.
Yeah.
Geese.
I don't have anything against geese.
No, me neither. My life's dream is to be reincarnated as a goose.
I know we were segueing, but quick goose story.
Yes.
There's this, I drive by it sometimes. It's real close to the gas station I go. There's a baseball field off of Pilgrim Road in Menominee Falls. Of course, it's winter now and whatever.
They're here all year in Milwaukee.
There's a baseball field, and I swear to God, I'm not making this up. There's a baseball field. I've driven by it multiple times, and there's geese that sit in the middle of the baseball field, and I count them every time I go by. And I swear to God, there's 9 of them.
No.
That's how many players are on a baseball team. And they
playing.
sit. I swear there's 9 of them.
They're looking for an opponent. They're like, who's going to play us?
I don't know what's going on. Anyway, villains. Let's get into some villains. So what makes a good we did the same thing with heroes, and it's kind of all over the board. So what makes a good villain? Obviously they're evil and their intentions are evil a lot of the times, but I kind of gravitate towards the more psychotic, unhinged, maybe mentally unstable type of villain. So what makes a good villain, or what are some of your favorite villains?
I think that a good villain has a clear motive. I think that they have, whether you agree with it or not, and even if it's just being fucking crazy, I like a clear motive. They have a goal and they're trying to reach it, and you're going up against it. I think that's very important. Almost you love to hate them. They are always in your way, but in a way where when they show up, you're like, fuck yeah. I think that is a really good villain.
Or you're like, no, you didn't just say that or do that.
Yeah, and your heart drops, but you're like, like it's memorable. You're like, fuck. Yeah.
I like I'm down for the classic villain whose intentions are just to take over the world, but I really like the ones that have more layers to that story, where there's something that maybe they even have a backstory, right? So they've got some kind of thing that happened in the past that makes them unhinged now, and they've got this motivation and purpose to do a certain thing. I've even had experiences where I've sided with the villain sometimes, where I'm like, that's legit.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Absolutely.
Where if their intentions or actions seem motivated, or, whatever it is, that you can kind of identify with that or see some reasoning in it.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about, I don't know, I didn't think about talking about boss fights. We might get into some of that too.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. That's almost a whole episode in itself.
Yeah.
There's so much, because then you get into like Shadow of Colossus.
Yeah.
And those aren't really villains, but those are fantastic bosses.
Right. So we're going to get into villains, some of our favorites, coming up right after this.
You are listening to Micah and Alyssa on Birds and Swords. Please like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and smash that like button.
We are the Men of Zen. What's going on? My name is Brent.
I'm Phil.
Are you a fan of Japanese anime?
Do I look like a fucking nerd to you?
Yes?
You're right I am. You're right I love anime. Do you like American animation?
I love that. So join us, the Men of Zen, every other Thursday, wherever you get your podcasts.
If I didn't care more than words can say.
Welcome back to Birds and Swords, everything villainy. So we're talking about villains today. Man, I love villains. I can't wait to get into some of our lists. I haven't seen yours. So, well, let's start with you, just like we do with heroes. You know, we talked about what makes a good villain. So what's some of the most moving villains that you've came across?
I guess I'd like to start with, last week I talked about one of my favorite heroes is Dante, his counterpart Virgil.
Defeating you like this has no meaning. Come on, Virgil. Let's do this. Heal your wounds, Dante. Get strong. After that, we'll settle the matter.
That was a terrible sound clip. So,
It wasn't too bad.
What makes Virgil so demonic in the world of Devil May Cry?
Virgil is Dante's twin. They are twin brothers, and what's very interesting...
Really?
Yes, they are twin brothers.
Okay, so announcement, I've never played Devil May Cry or any of the
shit.
games in the series.
You are not introduced to him until Devil May Cry 3, and they are identical brothers, and they go through the same backstory, which learn...
Is their dad Satan?
He's not Satan, but he's a very powerful demon.
Okay.
And their mom is human. Mom is human, dad is a demon, sexy. And they both go through very traumatic childhoods together, and they handle it very differently, which I think is incredible. Identical siblings.
Did they grow up together?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Basically, they split off early childhood, teenage years. But they, same childhood, went through traumatic events together, and they both handle it extremely differently. One turns into kind of just like devil hunter kind of guy, want to find out what happened to mom. The other guy is like, I'm going to rule the fucking world. And I think it's Virgil is very complex, and they start with him in Devil May Cry 3. They're kind of like, by the way, Dante has a brother, identical twin. He's evil. But they build off of that. And Devil May Cry 5 is still relatively fresh, so I don't want to build too much off of that, but he makes a return, and it's so well done.
So he's just in Devil May Cry 3 and 5?
Yes. He's in DMC as well, the reboot, but the reboot didn't do well, so they just went back to the original series, and I think that was the right choice. I liked DMC. I was one of the few people that enjoyed it, but the original Devil May Cry series is just incredible. You can't beat it. So it was a smart move to go back and revitalize these beloved characters.
So, spoilers, do you have to fight? Do the brothers fight?
Yes. Devil May Cry 3, it's like leading up to their big fight, basically. He's like the main villain, essentially. He's the big baddie. And what makes it so cool is since they're identical, they have a lot of the same combos. So he's a very difficult fight. It's really cool. It's very
evenly matched.
Evenly matched. And they have they play off the duality very well, and they fit together so well as rivals. I just really love what they did, because I think you can be very cliche with twin rivals. It's just too easy. But they do a fantastic job of it. I really, it's just well done, well written, well done.
Yeah, and I need to get into that.
Yeah, start with Devil May Cry 1 and just play through them.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
I've always stereotyped Devil May Cry as like, this is a game for emos or
me
wrist cutters or something. You
fucking
know?
betcha. Yeah, it's a really good series. 1 is a great game for its time. Didn't age all that well. 2, you can almost skip. It has almost no plot. 3 is where it just gets so good. Devil May Cry 3 on the PlayStation 2. They remastered it for the 3. Is a fantastic story, fantastic game. They bring in new characters, give it a story. It's just very well done. 4, I didn't like it. Other people did. They bring in like a new young emo guy that I didn't like. And then 5 is when they bring it all back. And it's some of the best gameplay in a video game I've ever experienced. You play through 3 characters and their role, and you meet new characters, old characters.
And 5 brings us up to date.
Yep. And 5 is the most recent. I'm obsessed with it. I loved it.
Nice. Let's switch it to Sephiroth.
You're not real. You're dead.
I am.
I killed you with my own...
Oh, you need not remind me. It was the crowning moment of our time together. But that was then, and this is now. I have a favor to ask.
Sephiroth.
Oh,
everybody,
fantastic.
Yeah, and everybody loves to hate Sephiroth because he has one of the most famous, what would you call it, assassinations, kills in video game history.
That's what I was going to talk about. Literally, yes. Well, probably one of the only villains to kill a playable character.
Yeah.
He kills, like, don't level Aerith. It's a joke now.
Yeah.
Like,
and even as, man, looking back on it, like if you watch the cutscene for that death, it's even super corny and stuff.
Yeah.
But it hits so hard at the time because Aerith is such a lovable,
sweet girl.
It's like, hey, we'll give you plenty of time to get to know and love how sweet and innocent and caring this character is before Sephiroth, fucking stabs her through the back.
And they really rub salt into the wound with Crisis Core because you play as Zack. And Sephiroth is part of Soldier, and he's everybody's favorite. He's a hero. He's the good guy. Everybody loves him, and you watch his downfall, and you watch what he does to Cloud and Tifa's town in real time. You watch him ruin lives. You are part of the bad guys, and that's what I love about Crisis Core is you play as the hero, but you are the villain without knowing, kind of a thing.
Sure, yeah.
You're the bad guys, you're Soldier. And Sephiroth is a big part of that. He is like your mentor, and you watch him go into this cycle of madness as he discovers his past and decides that he's going to murder Cloud.
Yeah. Psycho. Sinister.
Yeah.
Sinister is how I would describe
and
him.
he has his own theme song. Like, what villain? He
Yeah.
doesn't get more badass than that. Like,
And, you can't get through Kingdom Hearts without... I mean, it's like a side thing.
yeah.
You can complete
he's
the
got
game
like 15
and
health
never run it.
bars.
Yeah.
And there's like, Sephiroth.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah.
And the closer you get him to death, they're like, Sephiroth.
And he's got the classic Final Fantasy sword that's like 37 feet long. Like, you just can't get away from
And like
it.
that scene in Advent Children where he like points it at Cloud and it's like half a football field. Like,
Yeah. Classic Final Fantasy. But yeah, he's super sinister. He's like chilling at times. So.
Yeah. And Final Fantasy, like Square Enix, they're great with villains, but Sephiroth will always stand out because he is just bloodthirsty and his sword is massive and he beautiful hair and the angel wing and it just everything about him is just like sinister, like you said.
Yeah. Dead. All right, what do you have next?
Catherine from Catherine.
Catherine with a C.
Sorry for coming by out of the blue. I thought that you'd want to see me, Vincent. Just kidding. I couldn't keep myself away from you.
That little bitch. Go ahead.
I love Catherine. I love the game and I love the duality of the Catherines. I think they're both villains in their own way.
Yes.
But Catherine with a C is like kind of shown as the villain of the game.
Explain why there's two Catherines.
All right. So in the game Catherine, you play as Vincent, and he is just a dude who's about to get married to Catherine with a K. She's really
She wears glasses.
Yeah. She's very controlling and
Straight-laced.
bitchy. She's very bitchy. She's like, I want to get married and have a family now. I want you to do this. I want you to pick this up. He is a lazy kind of piece of shit guy, but she is like very bitchy and controlling. So he starts having these kind of dreams where he's hooking up with this other really hot blonde girl, but then he's kind of realizing they're not dreams and other people are having weird dreams. Catherine is kind of the villain of the game. She is causing Vincent to cheat on Catherine with a K. She is this very sexy, blonde, hot girl with blue eyeliner or whatever. Just like so hot. So the game is like a puzzle. It's like a strategic puzzle timed game.
Yeah,
and
it's pretty hard too.
It's very hard. And you play through Vincent's nightmares. And as you progress through the story of him cheating on Catherine. What I love about Catherine with a C as a villain is that she brings out a villain that's very human, even though maybe she's not, of cheating and being unfaithful. And is she the villain or is it Vincent kind of a thing?
Yeah.
Like I really love the complexity of her character. I love how she's sexy, and I love her character.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well said. Because it makes you question, because she's temptation, right?
Yes, absolutely. She's full on lust. She is lust, and the other Catherine is like duty. It's like relationships, stability, your life, but then it's like sex. And I think that game is if you're an anime
sex
fan,
and like being carefree and that side of your own adventurous personality. She represents all of that.
Yeah, I think that game is very well done, and it's interesting because the more you drink when you go to the bar with your friends, the slower the timer runs when you're in your nightmares.
Yeah.
It's very well put together
well
game.
Done.
Yeah.
Atlas makes that, who also made Persona.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
They don't make bad games.
I did not realize
There's a lot of similarities.
That makes a lot of sense.
Use your phone and you text.
Yeah, it all comes
stuff.
together when she sends you the sexts, and you're like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, good one.
Thank you.
Speaking of that same kind of Atlas universe, I have Kamoshida. So Persona 5 is one of my favorite games of all time. I hadn't played the other Personas before that, so I didn't really know the formula. So Kamoshida is a teacher and gym teacher, and he coaches the volleyball team, so he's that at a high school. But he's also the first villain in the game, so he's the first like mind you have to go into and change, because he's both physically abusive, and it's at least insinuated that he's probably sexually abusive too, although we don't see it or hear it directly.
With her friend, what's her name? Anne, her friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the girl tries to commit suicide.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like super deep. So Kamoshida.
I totally agree.
We just received a call from the hospital. Suzui's in a coma, and her chances of recovery are slim. How would someone like that make a statement?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he also tries, like, you try to catch him red-handed, and he's like, fuck you, I'm gonna cover all this shit up, here's how I'm gonna do it, and you can't do anything about it.
I would argue that Persona 5, their villains are more well fleshed out than the protagonists.
Yeah, probably.
I think that they all represent issues with society. One specific, they're all essentially the sins. I mean, they're the 7 sins.
Yeah.
But they really flesh out more contemporary versions of the sins.
Sure.
Which Kamoshida for me was very jarring because you introduced me to the game. So I was super into it. I didn't know what to expect. And when you come across something so serious so early in the game, I think it was very well done.
Yeah, and he's one of the heaviest hitting bosses as far as that mental stuff that you put yourself through while you're playing it. Like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
Like, of those 7 bosses, they put him at the front, I think, just so you can be like, man, this is fucked up.
Yeah.
Because he's like sexually abusive and we know he's physically abusive for sure.
Yeah.
Because kids end up like he coaches a volleyball team?
Yeah.
Everything they do makes you hate him.
And they set it up so well, like to see like this is his castle. The school is his castle. So when you play in the metaverse or whatever, you're in his castle and he's a king and you cannot challenge the king.
He's just wearing underwear too. He's got like
heart-shaped underwear, and then like Anne is like his loyal, sexy servant in a bikini.
Yeah.
Like It's very well put together.
Yeah, fuck that guy. And I remember the whole, you're introduced to the game, so it's almost like a tutorial palace, dungeon, whatever you want to call it. And they do such a good job of making you just loathe this man.
Yes.
That makes killing him, that much more satisfying.
My next one is actually kind of a full game of bosses. It's the Little Nightmares series.
Okay.
I think that, it's hard, like, there's the main bosses, there's the geisha, and then there's like the tall guy. Those are both fantastic, but
like a cafeteria worker woman, maybe?
So,
Am I making that up? I haven't played the game.
Okay, so the first game, the main boss, she's like the head of the ship. She's a geisha, and she's very freaky, and she might be a mom of a character. It's like everything's kind of like insinuated. And then the second game is like a tall, freaky, slender man looking guy. Both of them are fantastic, freaky fucking villains. They're scary as shit, and they really so creepy and well done and very difficult to progress because you're scared. But also, I don't want to overlook the smaller, I don't want to call them bosses. You don't really fight the others. You just have to get past them.
Yeah.
And there's the dude who's blind. He has a blindfold, but he has extremely long arms, so he can reach anywhere and see you anywhere by like he can reach under the bed, and it's just very creepy. There's the teacher, and she has a very long neck, so she can like look for you anywhere. It's extremely creepy and well done.
And these characters all mute?
Yeah, like nobody talks. Nobody in the game talks.
So that's impressive if you're...
It's all metaphorical. It's all creepy. Like the teacher with the long neck, the teacher sees everything. Like it's really, everything is like from a child's point of view. And it's absolutely terrifying, and it really takes you back.
It really takes you back.
It's just so, like, everything about Little Nightmares is done so well, and it's so creepy, and everything, all the like bosses you have to avoid, and then the final reveals for both bosses are just so memorable and creepy and scary and unnerving, and just make you think for days. You're like, this is so unexpected and freaky. And the second game, both games are done so well. I hope you play them soon. The bosses are just...
Let me borrow that shit. Do you have them?
I don't have the physical copies.
You have digital?
Yeah, digital. But play them. It's so worth it. The bosses, all of them, mini bosses, everything. It's so creepy.
And I've been told that by multiple people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's change the pace. All right, that asshole you just heard is Tom Nook from Animal Crossing. And you haven't played Animal Crossing, you said, right?
No, I've not. No.
Okay, so the basis of Animal Crossing, if you haven't played it, is you kind of like start a life. It's a life simulator. So you build a house, and the whole thing is to upgrade that or plant crops and flowers and upgrade those and get richer and add on and make friends and invite more animals to your island, all this good stuff. But the whole agreement is that there's this raccoon. His name is Tom Nook. You just heard him. That's what he sounds like. Of course, that's what almost everybody sounds like in their made-up language. But he charges you. The currency is bells. So instead of coins or dollars, it's bells. And like every week on Sunday, so Animal Crossing exists in real time. So if we were to boot it up right now, it would be this time of day and this date of the month and everything exact unless you change that in your system settings. So it'll be dark outside or light outside depending on what time of day. So I think it's Sunday, maybe it's Monday. Like he just requires you, like you buy your own house, you buy all your materials, equipment, everything. And then there's this raccoon. It's like, hey, you owe me 2,500 bells, motherfucker. So
what
you have
asshole.
to. Yeah, he's just, and he's widely known as this capitalist raccoon. He just collects taxes because I guess he owns the island. I don't know. Like I said, everything's paid for already. But you have to sacrifice a certain amount of all this work that you've done, whether you sold this or whatever you did. You just have to hand it over to this fucking raccoon. And, he just represents the capitalism of America, whatever, however you want to look at it.
And that's so funny
He's
because
a dick.
I was looking at top lists of the worst villains in video game history, and Animal Crossing is such a cute, friendly, fun, slow-paced game.
Casual,
he was
chill
number
game.
one on almost all of them.
Yeah. Asshole.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. And I know why it exists, and it makes sense, I guess. But at the same time, he's just this happy-go-lucky, raccoon. He even has a couple sons. They're in training. These little raccoons are eventually going to take your taxes. So Tom Nook, motherfucker.
My next one is going to be a very popular villain, one of the most popular, Ganondorf.
Ganon. Listen to this shit. That's from Ocarina of Time. How bad does that sound?
Dude, wow.
So that's his evil laugh. So Ganon from the Legend of Zelda series.
Yes. I think Ganondorf / Ganon are just a fantastic villain because he's just really, you get almost every rendition of him in every Zelda game. If not, then whoever summons him in the Skyward Sword or whatever. But he is always after Zelda's bitch Zelda. He is unrelenting.
He's kind of like Bowser, I guess, in the Princess.
He's just iconic. And I think there's a few things that are interesting about Ganondorf. One is that he's a Gerudo, and they know he's going to be evil because he's the only man born among the Gerudos every 100 years or something like that. So it's you have a son, just kill him.
Yeah.
I mean, not to get political, but I just feel like Ganondorf is this prophesized villain, and they just let him run amok. Because Gerudo, for those that don't know, Gerudos, it's a village of all women, just a bunch of lesbians running free in the desert. And every 100-something years, they have Ganondorf, and he grows up and betrays Zelda and kidnaps her in pretty much every Zelda game, or he's reborn or something like that. And I think especially in Breath of the Wild, he's just a great villain. I think he's spooky. And
what's he called in Breath of the Wild? He's a Calamity Ganon or something?
Yeah. He's pretty powerful, which is cool because it seems almost unbeatable until you just keep going through the game. And every different, because Ganon is the demon version of him or the pig version of him. Same thing. And I don't know. I think he's not the most complex character, but he's just a force to reckon with. And that's
and I feel like they, with his creation, they tried to put certain doctrines of around the world type of villains or religious zealots and stuff like that. He seems like a conglomeration of all of those.
Yeah, I really like his design in Twilight Princess. I like most of the Twilight Princess designs. I think that was really well done. But yeah, I think he's just a very popular, well-rounded villain. Yep. Bring him back.
All right. Okay, let's go. We're going to do a couple on the humor side of things. How about this one?
Hey, kiddo, Jack here, president of Hyperion. Let me explain how things work here. The Vault Hunters show up, Vault Hunter looks for the new vault, Vault Hunter gets killed by me. You see the problem here? You're still alive. So if you could just do me a favor and off yourself, that'd be great. Thanks, Pumpkin.
Dude, Handsome Jack from the Borderlands 2, I guess, exclusively, right?
Yeah.
Whatever DLC came with it.
He's in pre-sequel, too.
Yes.
Yeah,
you're totally right. One of the funniest villains you've ever heard.
Yep.
And he's still perfectly evil. All his intentions are, everything in the villain script is there. But he just somehow he can get in your radio comm and he talks to you throughout the game, like we just heard, and he just mocks you.
Yeah.
And he's hilariously written. The voice actor did a great job. The Handsome Jack has got to be mentioned.
Yeah, very infamous, amazing villain.
He's so funny. I feel like there should be more to say about him.
I know. I don't have more because it's just such a gameplay game. It's just there's story, but it's while you're playing. It's from the shit he says to you.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
He's like, oh, you found the such and such.
Yeah.
By the way, I planted, 40 psychos right around there,
Right.
and good luck. I'll talk to you if you live.
It just keeps the game alive for you, which is perfect. It's because Borderlands is a gameplay heavy game, so
yes,
yeah.
Another funny one, and maybe my favorite if I had to name them.
Oh, it's you. It's been a long time. How have you been? I've been really busy being dead. After you murdered me.
So that's GLaDOS from Portal, and you haven't played Portal, have you? Portal 1 or Portal 2? So Portal exists as, it's a puzzle game. It's obviously very, very popular if you've already played it. But it's a series of trials. So it's just these rooms where you have to escape the room. And that's it. You have 2 buttons. One's a portal that you walk into. One's a portal that you walk out of. So each room that you go into, you have to figure out whatever the complexities are of the room in order to escape it. There might be something moving or, different weird vantage points, all this stuff. So you're kind of like a test subject, at least you think at first. So you're going through these tests and going through these rooms, but it ends up GLaDOS, who you just heard, is treating you, the same way as a test subject, but she's going to dispose of you at the end.
Oh.
So you don't matter. So it goes from doing these test subjects in these rooms to completing all these rooms in order to escape.
Oh, wow.
And there's constant, kind of the same way as Handsome Jack, there's constant mockery and just brilliant writing of her either making fun of you or introducing some new, I've got this room figured out, and then she introduces something new that totally throws you off, and it's hilarious. Everybody loves GLaDOS. You should play those games because you like puzzle games.
Yeah, I'm so surprised I haven't played them yet, honestly.
Man, and you can only get the first one if you're going to play it on console. It's on what's called the Orange Box. So it's a Valve thing as far as the company that made it. So it comes with like Half-Life.
Yeah.
It's got the original Portal on it. And then Portal 2, which is the epitome. And it's even got a co-op.
Yeah,
where once you
I've
introduce
heard.
4 portals, it's even crazier. But it's so funny. It's so challenging, so hard. And the ridicule that you get from GLaDOS the entire time. And she's just an AI. So she's not a real person or anything like that. She's just programmed, and it just works. So GLaDOS has to be on the list because she tries to kill you at every chance she can get and mocks you the entire time. What else you got?
I actually thought of this one recently, so it would have been a great soundbite to have, but Hades from Hades would have been I thought of it while we were doing this episode, and I didn't get through all 10 escapes. I'm at like 6 right now.
That's more than I did, I think.
Thank you. After a while, you get the rhythm. But
Hades is fantastic.
It's really good, and what I love about it is he's not necessarily a villain, but he's the boss. He's the guy stopping you from your objective.
And your dad.
Yeah. And it's just, he's very well written because he's just such an asshole, but there's more to it. And I think that he's just very well written, well drawn, well everything. And his fight is hard, especially the first time you get to him. You're like, I will never beat this fucker.
And he's got like 4 or 5 phases. You're like used to the standard 3-phase boss fight, and I'm pretty sure he's got like 4 or 5.
He's got 2 main phases, but yeah, he like kind of during each phase he shuffles through phases.
Okay.
So it's 2 health bars, multiple phases.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's very well done. And even though it's not necessarily that he's a villain, but he's stopping you from your objective. So like a video game terms villain. I love the interaction between him and his son. Their dialogue is witty and fun and comical, but also dark and like what's going on. You're trying to figure stuff out. What happened to this? Or who am I? Why do I bleed? It's just very well done. He's a good villain.
Yeah, and he's like the Lord of Hell, so that moves him up the list automatically.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to this one. I think we've probably played this same clip before, but I can't help myself.
A little sparkle for you, and a little sparkle for you, and a little bit for me.
The sad part is, today is the day she will die.
I can hear you know.
Oh? You can?
Mm-hmm. Are you inside my head or something?
Well, okay. Yes.
All right, I'll call you Mr. Voice.
So Mr. Voice.
Oh, we can't say too much about this.
We keep going back to Little Misfortune. So Mr. Voice is basically a narrator. I forget his real name. Morgan, or I don't remember what his real name is. So he guides you on this path to ultimate destruction, I guess. I don't know. How would you explain that?
Gosh.
Because he kind of helps Little Misfortune, and he helps you along your way.
He keeps you guessing. He introduces himself as the villain. Like, she's going to die. Let's go.
Yep.
But then he keeps you guessing. He's like, you start thinking, is he really the bad guy? Isn't he?
He always talks to her with such love and care, and he knows like how old she is,
Yes.
He knows how to cater to who she is and kind of push her along the path that she's going on.
It's just a fantastic villain. I didn't have him on the list because it's just so hard to talk about it without giving away too much of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to go play that game. Everybody listening, if you haven't played the game, please, I'm begging.
Little Misfortune, $7. We'll say it every episode.
Every episode. Little Misfortune, go play it.
Yes. All right, so we've talked about this game on the podcast before, Doki Doki Literature Club. Let's play Monica's soundbite.
I can't help but feel a little sad sometimes, knowing that this is the closest I can get to you. There's nothing more I want than to be in the same room as you, for real, and to feel your warmth, and to hear the sound of your heartbeat. Well, who knows? Maybe it'll be possible someday. Besides, I'll never get tired of being with you, even from here.
Okay, we can't say a lot about Monica, but she creeps me the fuck out, even just from that sound clip.
I actually played Doki Doki Literature Club at my own house party once. You lent it to me, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to play this game. And it actually turned into the music turned off, and everybody was gathered around me watching me play this game. And it was like everybody was extremely invested in this anime dating simulator because it gets so fucked up so fast. And it's not a long game. You warned me it's not a long game.
Yeah.
And it's like yeah, everybody was like, I would like hit next, and the next voice line come up, and everybody like, oh, like it's like we're watching a football game. Yeah, it was insanely fucked up.
And she's high on my list too, especially with I won't call it post game stuff because again, we don't want to reveal too much, but yeah, you can't really say anything about it.
It's very well done game. I'm so glad you.
Yeah, fuck you, Monica.
Lent me that. Holy shit.
All right, and one of the best.
I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? No, says the man in Washington, it belongs to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican, it belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow, it belongs to everyone. I rejected those answers. Instead, I chose something different. I chose the impossible. I chose rapture.
Oh, great.
Tell us about Andrew Ryan.
Andrew Ryan is probably my favorite video game villain of all time.
What game is he from?
BioShock. And they created just the most real villain that they possibly could think of. He really represents the unregulated capitalist market. He truly is anti-socialism, anti-communism in the most dramatic, and he's just...
And he only exists through radio recordings.
Yes, and that's what's so insane. You literally only hear him through, you mostly through your headset and through the radios you find, the little recorders. Mm-hmm. And he is truly, he believes just an absolute, if you can do it, do it. If you have the money to do it, do it. If you have the intelligence to do it, do it. Are you a scientist that wants to test on real subjects? Do it. Are you an artist that wants to cut people up for your project? Do it. What is stopping you? There should be no reason. There's no reason we should give money to anybody else. There's no reason that we should regulate anything that we do. He is in complete support of 100% unregulated free market. And the game shows that. He creates this, I think it's post World War II. He creates this city underwater. And
called Rapture.
Yes. And it's supposed to be literally this like utopia of like people that are looking for just mostly it's like meant for rich people. Rich people go here and there's like jokes about
it's like there's a seat on this plane to Mars for you.
Yeah.
It's that kind of place.
It's exactly it. And like everybody has plastic surgery and pays up the ass for this and that, and it's underwater, completely free market city that just gets so unhinged and spooky. It's just
really fast.
So good. Go ahead. You can talk about it. I get so into it.
I totally agree. I wish we could talk about the hook of the whole game as far as the communication and how he communicates with you, because there's a big giveaway there. But if you haven't played BioShock, we're not going to say that. But yeah, I agree with everything you said. He's also super smart, articulate, and everything that comes through to you makes you believe him.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah, let's do that. Let's follow this and go there and do this.
He talks like a politician in the recordings you find. Like it's just so parallel with real life.
Yeah.
It really he is the most realistic villain in video game history, in my opinion. I think that he is actually scary.
Yeah, because he empowers you, the player, free will, all of that stuff.
Oh,
all of that
God.
stuff.
Yeah.
But he's still the villain, and
there's so many quotes from him, and just God,
yeah, he's good stuff.
Yeah, incredible villain.
Yeah,
BioShock. If you haven't played it, even if you don't like scary games, play it, please.
Yeah,
everything about it.
All three of them are good. Some of them are a little better than others. I still kind of prefer the first one.
The first one is my favorite.
But man, the BioShock game's so well written, so well done,
just
and
great.
Andrew Ryan, I don't know who came up with that and what they went through and what they researched, but nailed it.
Yeah, you couldn't have. I would, like I've said in the past, I would love live action movie or series about BioShock if they could do it right.
Like an HBO.
Yeah, if they could do it right, like Witcher or Last of Us, I would pay extra money for this, because it's just such an incredibly riveting story.
Yeah, the ultimate in bad guy.
Yeah.
All right, honorable mentions: Bowser.
Woo! Yeah, he's a big turtle.
Dick, man, just keeps kidnapping the princess, or maybe he just wants to be happy. I don't know, but he's iconic. I also wanted to mention Pyramid Head from Silent Hill, obviously super popular. Wander, who is the name or given name of the protagonist in Shadow of the Colossus. We just did our episode on heroes, and he kind of falls into both categories, because what he's doing is for a great benefit, but at the same time is destroying the world that you're in.
It's like very selfish what he's doing, but
yes,
you get it.
So I think he still falls into villain.
Yeah.
Do you have any other?
I have no honorable mentions.
We exhausted all of them.
Yeah.
All right. I love me a good villain.
Comstock from Infinite, because I'm for
it's
those
hard
that,
to not give away the tell
right
on that too.
For those that don't know me, I am terrified of organized religion. So enter in this entire city in the sky that's just all about worshiping this one man who's a prophet, and just diving into that story, and without giving anything away, the twists and turns will just make you die further. It's just so fucked up and spooky.
Again, just play all the BioShocks.
Just play the BioShock. Seriously. And if you're going to skip any, skip 2, but 2 is still good, just not as good as 1 in Infinite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still enjoy 2.
I enjoyed it a lot.
The relationships between the big daddies and the little sisters.
And you play as a little sister, which is cool, because you see what they see.
Yes. Good stuff. All right. Villainy. Like I said, at the end of the last episode, we probably missed some, but I love me a good villain. I love being vindicated when I approach that villain and whatever the end game is, whether it's a boss battle or something else that happens. Love villains, and it's hard to pull off some of that stuff. And, I guess worth mentioning, anything in the From Software series, I know there's tons of epic villains in Dark Souls, Elden Ring, bosses, Demon Souls, all of those.
We should do a bosses episode.
Yeah,
because
we'll do that in the future. Beast. Boss fights.
Yeah,
love me a good boss fight.
Gonna be a lot of God of War in that.
All of them. All right, so that's our take on villains. Be sure to stay tuned for part 3 and the final part, and maybe my most anticipated part is NPCs, non-playable characters. So many memorable memories. Excited to record and get that one out to you guys. So thanks for spending the time with us, Alyssa.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And watches the ships that go sailing somewhere beyond the sea. She's there watching for me. If I could fly like birds on high,